a6, I found this really nice tactic. Rook c4, rook b4, rook b6. Cannot. Oh, Noctie fell for it. Noctie fell for it. Let's go. Easy money. Easy money. Let's go. Okay, wait. King a2. It's not over. It's not over. Hello, chess people of the internet. My name is Emil Stefanov, International Master, and in this video, I walk you through weekly scenario number 33 in Noctie. Let's get started. This is another position from the TePe Sigeman Co Tournament in 2026. This time, this position occurred in round 3 of the game between Arjun Erigaisi and Nils Grandelius. Up to this moment, Nils, the local hero, did not have a good start. He had 2 losses. So in round 3, he wanted to switch things up, and he played the razor sharp Sicilian Dragon. As we can see, this is from the Sicilian Dragon, and we're in the end game. So here it is very much about the pawn race. Who is going to be faster? We have 4 pawns with the black pieces on the king side versus 1 pawn for white, and 3 versus nothing. So that feels a little bit dangerous, doesn't it? Whenever we're in such situations, who can promote their pawn faster is the person who's going to win, very logically, right? In the game, Nils Grandelius did not play the best at one moment, and Arjun ended up winning with the white pieces. Now, it already feels like white has the advantage, doesn't it? White has already pushed the a-pawn. They're going to continue to try to push it, move the bishop. I don't see how we can stop this pawn going all the way to a7. And in fact, moving this bishop as well and pushing the v-pawn isn't too hard. For us, it's a little bit more complicated, isn't it? Pushing the e and f pawns is not going to get us anywhere. Of course, we can't even push the f-pawn once we push the e-pawn due to legal reasons, obviously. So how do we do this? How do we deal with this situation? It's all about the h4 pawn. Imagine this pawn was not there. Then, very logically, your response to a4 would be h5, h4, and just keep pushing the pawn. But this pawn is in the way, so, I mean, how do we get rid of it, right? It's kind of hard. Attacking it with bishop f6 and taking it is going to take forever, because then we have to move the bishop as well. So, the best way to get rid of that pawn is actually to play extremely aggressively and just sacrifice a pawn. So, the move we're going to start with is pawn to h5. Now, our idea is that we're going to play g5 and be able to play h4, h3, and h2. And as we can see, Noctie plays the move bishop f2, which is a very good preparatory move. Basically, it says, okay, you're trying to play g5, I see you, and I'm going to block you by already protecting my pawn there. Now we might have to play bishop f6 and g5 potentially to be able to really get going on the king side. Now, of course, didn't mention that, but there was rook g1 in many variations, so we also have to be careful about that. But ultimately, the one benefit that we have in this position that the opponent doesn't is the well-placed light square bishop. This bishop is very important. The reasoning for that is it covers the a8 queening square. So in many lines, we're probably not even going to care that the pawn is going to get to a7. For as long as we have this bishop, it is extremely hard to actually promote the passed pawn. In the meantime, we should focus on our adventures with g5, right? So the best way to do that will probably be bishop f6, bishop f3, and g5. It's a little bit slow, but sometimes we're going to have to deal with slow, right? Now, bishop d5 to try to trade the bishops is, again, something I mentioned that we probably should not be doing, for we have the bishop on the long diagonal. Now, every position is very complicated, so if you find yourselves in a complicated position, having so many moves and so many options, then you can just click on the Show Ideas button in Noctie, and it's going to give you a lot of suggestions. And bishop c6, rook a8, you know, those are logical moves. Rook a8 just to sort of slow down the push of the a-pawn. That's a very logical move. Bishop c6 also to just kind of hint at attacking the pawn. And of course the moves that bishop f6, the one that I really wanted to play, and of course we have bishop h6 check. I like bishop f6, just putting pressure on this pawn already, and I'm anticipating that if Noctie plays a5, then I'm going to be able to attack this pawn. And okay, I wasn't necessarily sure if Noctie wanted to allow me to play rook a8. My point is very simple. After rook a8, I'm attacking the pawn, So I'm trying to stop the pawn, obviously. But then and I'm attacking it as well. And so when bishop b6 gets played, then the bishop is distracted from the h4 pawn. So, it feels like I'm gonna, yes, obviously lose some tempos by capturing this pawn and having to move my bishop again. But lucky me, there is bishop g5 check. So I think Noctie already kind of made a mistake with that a5 move. Because again, we blocked the pawn and we attacked it at the same time. There was no b4 to reinforce the pawn. And yeah, I think now we're just going to be extremely fast at being able to push our pawns. Now, of course, I say that, and Noctie obviously plays a really good move. Of course, Noctie does not want me to win so easily. Now, I was going to try to play bishop g5 check and h4. Yeah, that's not going to work now. Yep, that's not going to work. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time now, isn't it? Where do we keep the bishop? Usually you want the bishop to be on an active square. So bishop e4 does look very active, but that might run into bishop c2. And again, Noctie does try to trade those bishops and it will benefit Noctie. So I'm assuming we might have to position the bishop on a different square. Bishop f3, same thing. It runs into bishop d1. I don't see any problems with bishop b7. It does put the bishop on a square that, okay, maybe ideally you don't want. Because sometimes there could be very easy attack on the bishop. But for the time being, we're still stopping a6. And we're just making slow progress. So bishop c2 is played. This is not a threat. Obviously, we have it well covered. And in this situation, we might consider playing bishop d8, trying to get rid of the dark square bishop. And in this case, we will be able to weaken the a5 pawn. But at the same time, our rook will have to slide over. So yeah, again, it is extremely complex. I do like bishop f6 though. And the reason why is I am stopping b4 in a way, right? Because if b4, then the wrong arrow. There was bishop takes c3. And Noctie sacks on g6. I did not expect that. Yeah, okay, I'll just take... I think Noctie just realized, hold up, the pawns are going to get very dangerous, especially the h-pawn. So Noctie just sacks, but okay, this is not working. After king f7. Yeah, if you could do all this, or if you could take the pawn here, then okay, maybe you complicate my tasks. Because if I do lose this pawn on h5, then I only have the e6 pawn. Okay, I'm still winning, but it's going to take a little bit of work. Here, after bishop rook h6, we have bishop g5 check, and we pick up the rook on h6. So the rest of the game should be extremely easy for us to win. Alrighty, let's go back in the starting position and try again. Alright, we're back in the starting position and we've increased Noctie's difficulty. So it's going to be a lot harder to win right now. But we're still going to go with the same plan. h5 is definitely the move that we want to play because then we're going to be able to play g5 in many positions and be able to get rid of that h4 pawn as soon as possible. So Noctie now plays a much finer move, which is the move bishop b6, which attacks our rook. So we do need to respond to that. I'm assuming that rook to a8 is still relatively a good move. I have an inclination that rook d6 might also be a good move, mainly due to the fact that if a5, a6, we will always be able to capture that bishop. Then again, the rook will get attacked a lot, so I'm not a huge fan of that. But for the sake of simplicity, let's go with rook a8. Just keep it simple as the previous game, and yeah, we're stopping this pawn. We're gonna go bishop f6, try to get rid of the pawn. I really want to play g5, but the unfortunate fact about this move is that, if Noctie takes, then sure, we get h4, it's an easy game. The problem is that g5 runs into rook g1. Our bishop gets attacked, and unfortunately, we don't have a good move there. When we move it, rook g5, it almost looks like we can pin and win. Yeah, but we're actually the one who's being pinned first. So that's not going to work. So I kind of want to play bishop to b7 to already prepare g5. Like, notice the fact that I'm not trying to waste time with bishop f6, bishop h4. Although that might be genuinely a good move. Again, if you're confused or you don't know what to do, you're kind of in between moves, the show ideas button is always really good. But we can see here Noctie saying, hey, it's bishop f6. It is not bishop b7. do not play bishop b7 for whatever reason. Noctie does not like it. I tend to agree that bishop f6 is good, but I just don't like wasting this much amount of time. So I'm quite a fan of bishop b7. Now, it says it's a mistake. Let's see why it's a mistake. And of course, we can always go back later and review why it's a mistake. Ah, rook f1. Okay. So Noctie stops me from playing bishop to f6. Oh, okay. I think I finally understand the point. Rook g1. After g5, Noctie's going to play rook g1. Okay. I do get the point now. Basically, if I take, then there's going to be bishop d4. So if g5, rook g1, I got to go g4. And that's not quite where I want my pass pawn to be at. I mean, it's okay, but it's not necessarily the best square. Also, I should say hg5, h4. It looks like we're going to be able to promote our pass pawn very quickly, but there is some g6 counterplay. So, and I'm going to demonstrate it right now, and most likely we're going to go back and try to deal with that. But g4 for now, g5 for now is excellent, but after hg, h3, g6 becomes extremely complicated. Yeah, so Noctie takes it, h4, we gotta push, but I think this is the main issue, that there's this g6, bishop e6, yeah, and then the pawn is kind of blockaded in a way, right? I would really like to just give up this pawn and go king f8, you know, takes king f8, but yeah, obviously bishop c5 is going to be checkmate, so I can't really do that. And if I take, then bishop e6, and yeah, Noctie has established a really good fortress-like position where really just the pawns are blockaded. That's the main thing there. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I was really hoping that we were going to be able to just keep pushing the pawn. We're just so close. And yet it feels so far, right? I could potentially try to give up the pawn. Then bishop b6, h2. Just really try to go all the way. If it works, it will be cool. But yeah, unfortunately, I think bishop c7 will be good enough to stop me. And then this pawn is there on f7. Not good. So let's go back into the mistake that we made with bishop b7. All right, we're back into the move that Noctie had suggested, bishop f6. I neglected that, and I paid the price dearly. So let us go play bishop f6 now. Let us still attack the h4 pawn. Yeah, it's a little bit slow. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit slow. Yeah, rook g1 hits our bishop. Again, you know, g5 was also gonna be an idea in some lines. But rook g1, and now we have to go all the way back to b7 just to, you know, make sure a6 is well covered. But yeah, I mean, bishop f2, we're going to be back into where we were last time with rook a5. So bishop c4. So Noctie is just saying, hey, I'm going to just push this pawn. Okay, I'm going to take the free pawn, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to take the free pawn. We'll hope for the best. Yeah, it just feels like I have it locked in. But b5, a6 happens. Noctie's pawns are way faster than my pawns. That is quite unfortunate. And I can't even place my bishop there or there. That's really the annoying part, because I would love to be on one of these two squares, but I'm not, which is really unfortunate. And then here, yeah, I don't like the trade because it kind of draws my rook away. I kind of like the bishop, in a way, being kind of in the way of the pawns in a sense, right? Because b6 will not be able to be played until the bishop moves. But it is not looking great here. It is not looking great. We're so slow. The bishop will go to c7. Yeah, if we're in time to reestablish our bishop on this diagonal, that'll be great. Which actually right now, Noctie didn't give me that opportunity. I mean, of course, the pawn was hanging, but maybe there was a line where Noctie just gives it away and plays a6 and all in on the pawns. h4, I kind of don't like whenever the bishop does get onto this diagonal. So I think I want to play bishop e5 based on that fact alone. But again, I made a mistake last time, so let's go ahead and click on the show ideas button. As we can see, it's a very complex position. Rook c8, I did not believe in this move because I thought there's rook g6. Oh, wait, my rook's actually covered. And I probably just place the bishop there and I probably survive. Okay. Yeah, I saw rook c8, but yeah, I just felt like rook g6 was happening a little bit annoyingly. I think what I forgot maybe was that this is too slow. Yeah, like even if it goes all the way to a7, I just play bishop b7. Actually, yeah, rook c8 looks like a genuinely very good move. But of course, a6, so many complications. a6, I could take on c3. Oh boy, here it comes. The amount of complications. As in every game, you're gonna have to calculate. Yeah, bishop c3 looks cool. Does it feel cool? Probably. King b3 though, they're not forced to take it. And then I'm kind of in a tough spot there, no? Okay, I could be fancy and play rook c4 and sack the house, but it doesn't work. I could just sack the house anyways, and then have rook b4, rook b6. That's a cool idea. Actually, that works. Yeah, that actually works. Yeah, rook c8, a6, rook c4, rook b4. Yeah, that actually works. So wait, hold up. What is Noctie supposed to do against rook c8? That's actually a legit point. I like this a lot. a6, I found this really nice tactic. Rook c4, rook b4, rook b6. Cannot. Oh, Noctie fell for it. Noctie fell for it. Let's go. Easy money. Easy money. Let's go. Okay, wait. King a2. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. King c2, rook b6, rook b1. But we will sack the rook for the pawn. And, or sorry, we're not sacking anything. We're not sacking anything. We're just going to do that bishop e5 and just run the pawn down. Okay, we did it. We did it. We're going to have to go back in the starting position one more time and really showcase the ideas. It was not that easy of a win. Of course, Noctie just kind of fell for the trap. But yeah, we have the bishop covering. And now we just push and we're way faster. Of course, the bishop covers. King will have to go there, and then there's king, queen b8. Checkmate. Let's go back one last time into the starting position. Alrighty. As I mentioned earlier, we want to get rid of the h-pawn by all means necessary. And sometimes be on the lookout for that h5, g5 idea. Probably doesn't work all the time, but you definitely want to be as quick as possible with promoting the h-pawn. The reason why you want to push the h-pawn is, again, we talked about it, but the e and f pawn's extremely hard to push with this bishop in the way. And then the g pawn, really, you have to get rid of the h4 pawn to push it. And also, the h-pawn is way better supported because of our light square bishop. Do not try to trade that bishop. I think it's going to benefit white more than it benefits you. Your bishop is very powerful. And anytime that your rook gets attacked with bishop b6, trying to get hit by the rook, sometimes you could choose rook b8 or rook d6 if the bishop was on b6. But in other situations, yeah, you might have to play rook 8 a little bit passively. Bishop f6 as always the move. Yeah, we somehow waste a lot of tempos, but it's kind of needed. G5, we figured out what happened in the second game with that hit with hg5 and g6, and somehow all the tactics worked in Noctie's favor. And here, yeah, you could somehow maybe choose rook d6 sometimes, or rook b8. That's probably going to be my recommendation. I do like this a lot more than rook a8, because with rook a8 it felt like I'm only fighting against the a pawn. But with rook b8, I'm fighting against the in pawn, because if you push it, then obviously you lose your bishop. So you're going to have to sort of move your bishop. But you can't until you figure out the square for the light square bishop. And even if you do move the light square bishop and you move the dark square bishop, then when you start pushing the b pawn, my rook is still fighting against the b pawn. So I think rook b8 is, in general, the better move than rook 8. A little bit less of a passive rook, and you still have some pressure on this. But, of course, position is extremely complicated. Both sides are trying to push pawns. Be very vigilant on tactics for both sides. Good luck in your games, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.